Hey everyone, it's Knitting Melissa, and I'm going to show you some basic two-color brioche. This sample that I have here is actually a brioche cowl, and it uses increases and decreases. I'm not going to worry about those for this video. Those are in other videos. I'm just doing a couple of straight brioche rounds to show you how it works. So brioche makes this great, like squishy, extra thick fabric, and when you do it in two colors, the cool part is on the other side, it's exactly the same, but the colors are reversed, so it's reversible, and you can wear whichever color you want on the outside, and it's really kind of neat. So brioche is basically you, with a two-color brioche, you obviously have two colors, and on one round you are going to do a brioche knit round with one color, which I often call my main color, and in this case it's the blue yarn, because that's the color that's going to show on the right side. Then following a brioche knit round, you were going to do a brioche purl round, where you would use the second color, or sometimes I call the contrast color, and this is, you know, the color that's kind of hidden in here on the right side but shows on the wrong side. So when you're looking at brioche, you'll see that there are two types of stitches. So you have, in this case, I have a brioche knit stitch, which is a knit stitch with a paired yarn over, and then a stitch that I'm going to slip, a brioche knit, a stitch I'm going to slip, a brioche knit, and so forth the whole way around. So when you're doing the brioche knit round, you're going to knit the stitches that have a yarn over paired with them, and then slip the next ones, the single stitches. When you slip them, you're going to slip them so that you create a yarn over, so that on the next round these things are reversed. So the stitches that were the brioche stitches on this round are going to be single stitches on the next round, and the stitches that are the single stitches that we slip on this round are going to get a yarn over and be our brioche stitches for the following round. So right now I am working on a brioche knit round, so I am using my main color. So you'll see here, and we treat this stitch with its yarn over just like a single stitch. So you're just going to work them together no matter what. You never separate them. So my brioche knit round is going to do a brioche knit, which is often abbreviated BrK. Some people say bark, a bark stitch, a brioche knit stitch, and then a YOS, a yarn over slip stitch. So we're going to yarn over and slip the next stitch. Okay. Then if we do another brioche knit stitch, so again knitting the stitch with its yarn over, you see because our yarn is in front, it's going to create the yarn over. And when we do that brioche knit stitch, now we have created the yarn over for that slip stitch that we're going to work on the next row. So let's do it again. So we're yarn over, slip, brioche knit, okay, yarn over, slip, and in this case I have a stitch marker here. This is just designating some pattern repeats. So I'm going to slip that marker, and one thing to make sure is that now this yarn over, when I do my next brioche knit, you don't want it to come on the, this side of the stitch marker. You want it to be paired with that stitch that you slipped. So make sure your yarn overs stay where you want them to. So brioche knit, yarn over, slip, brioche knit, yarn over, slip, and I'm going to do a few of these just so I get to the end of the round here and I can show you, oops, yarn over, slip, show you how the purl side works. So the brioche knit is just knitting the stitch with its yarn over that was created from the previous round, and then yarn over, slip the next stitch. So when we work our brioche knit, we're creating that yarn over. And you'll see it's going to work a little bit different, that yarn over slip stitch, for the purl round, because our yarn's going to start out in the front, which is where you need it when you purl. So to create the yarn over is going to be an extra little step there. Okay, let's see where I am here. A little bit to go till I get to the end of round. So when you first start doing brioche, it's a little different because you have these yarn over stitches, and I will tell you it's much more difficult if you make a mistake to tink back. So try to pay attention and not lose any yarn overs, or make sure the yarn overs go where you want them to, because ripping back is much more difficult than with straight knitting. Okay, so we'll keep going here. Yarn over, slip, brioche knit that stitch together with its yarn over, slip, brioche knit, yarn over, slip, brioche knit, And we're almost at the end of our round. Yarn over slip, brioche knit, yarn over slip, brioche knit, and our last stitch here is the yarn over slip. Now this blue yarn here, actually if I worked another stitch it would create the yarn over for this slip stitch. Since I'm switching colors, it doesn't really get anchored to anything, so when you come back on your brioche purl round to this, you want to make sure that this blue yarn's not hanging out in front. You want to flip it over the back to create that yarn over and work that yarn over together with the stitch. But anyway, so I'm at the end of my round, so I'm going to slip my end of round marker, and now I change colors and I leave my second color hanging out in front here from the last time that I used it, and I need to do a brioche purl round. So the brioche purl round, I'm going to start with the yarn over slip. Now my yarn is in front for purls, so when I yarn over and slip, if I just were to work a brioche purl here, I wouldn't get the yarn over around this slip stitch. So I actually have to wrap the yarn over the top and back through the middle and then brioche purl in order to create that yarn over. So let's do that again. So my yarn's in front, I slip, wrap the yarn around, brioche purl the next stitch along with its wrap. Oh, split it a little bit and make sure I get the whole stitch. And see, here's my yarn over, that stitch is created. So again, I'm gonna slip, yarn over, brioche purl. So even though it uses the same YOS terminology for yarn over slip, in my mind I always think of it as slip, yarn over for the purl side. The brioche purl abbreviation is BrP. I've heard people say BrP. If you want to, that's fine. I'll just say brioche knit. But so again, we slip, yarn over to create that brioche stitch for the next round, brioche purl that stitch together with its wrap. And if you look, you can see here, single stitch, brioche stitch, single stitch, brioche stitch, single stitch. And we go all around with our second color. And when we get back to our end of round, then we start again doing a brioche knit round with our main color. And that's all there is to working straight brioche knit and purl rounds with 2 colors. Thanks so much for watching. Happy knitting!